Dear students, today's topic for discussion is about corporate obligation to investors, employees, customers and society. So as already we have discussed about good governance practices and policies, a corporation is a creation of law. So people form being part of the society in which they operate. So whatever activities the corporates are doing, it will surely have an impact towards the society. As the society's value have an impact towards the corporation, it's vice versa as well. They have mutual rights and obligations to discharge for the benefit of one another. So in today's lecture session, you are going to know more about the obligations. And in corporation, as I already mentioned, the first obligation to society at large is national interest. A company should be committed in all its actions to the economic development of the country in whichever they operate. They should not engage in any activity that would somewhere militate against such an objective. So a country's goals, vision should be in alignment with the corporate's vision. A company should not undertake any project or any activity that is detrimental to the nation's interest or that will create an adverse impact on the social and the cultural pattern. So they should conduct the business in consonance with the economic development of the country. The government's objectives, priorities has to be given importance, and the companies must strive to make a positive contribution to the realization of such goals. So when we discuss about obligations towards the society at large, the nation's interest comes first. Second is political non-alignment. A company should be committed and supportive towards the democratic constitution and the system. They should have a transparent and fair electoral system. Nowhere directly or indirectly, they should not support any specific political party or any candidate from the political office. So that's a very important rule they have to adhere to. The company should not offer or give funds or even in the form of property as donations, either indirectly or directly, to any specific political party candidate or for campaign. So this is the very important one when you talk about obligations towards the society as a whole. Every business owes an obligation to the society. Can it be socio-economic objectives, employment opportunities, efficient use of resources, business morality, or either in the improvement of the local environment? Whatever forms it may be, the company is held responsible to contribute more to the society at large. And when I take the first objective, socio-economic one, as I already said, they should not indulge in any unfair practices. The business should use the factors of production efficiently, effectively, and that should satisfy the needs of the society. Second is employment opportunities. As we all know, can it be the country or corporation, their prime responsibility is to generate employment, job creation. So the responsibility of the management is to help increase direct and indirect employment in the area which they are functioning. So if there is a particular company in a geographical location, it is their right royal responsibility to uplift the entire region they are affiliated with. Next is the efficient use of resources. So the resources at the command of the business, it belongs to the society. So the business should make the best possible use of resources, and that too for the well-being of the society. The fourth one is business morality. So they should not indulge into any antisocial or unfair trade practices. Can it be with black marketing or adulteration or hoarding? So these are all completely prohibited when you talk about the obligation to the society. Then you need to improve the local environment. See, business should take preventive measures against water or air pollution. You have to develop the surrounding area for the well-being of the employees and the general public. So these are all the ways in which you can be very much responsible and indebted to the society at large. So with respect to the social responsibility of a business, that implies the obligation of the management of a business enterprise. Decisions are not merely to maximize the profit or shareholders' value, but also to serve and protect the interest of other members of the society, let it be the workers or consumers or the community as a whole. When you talk about the responsibilities and role of business in relation to the society, in terms of business ethics, we have these basic necessities which will satisfy in terms of the legal compliances. The management of a company should comply with all applicable government laws, rules and regulations. The employees and directors, they should acquire appropriate knowledge of the legal requirements that has been related to the duties they have to go with. So, whatever potential dangers that are there, they should be having a knowledge about the legal requirements, so that will be sufficient to satisfy or to recognize this danger. Violating governmental laws, rules and regulations, that will subject them to the individual criminal or civil liability. Of course, disciplinary action by the company will also be taken. And again, everything happens at the loss of business. So you just can't say that if they commit a issue or if they get into any trouble, it's just we are going to punish them. But you are punishing them at the cost of your business loss. So this is something where you need to take care of about the legal compliances. Legal compliances will also talk about the corporations abiding the tax laws of the nation. You have different taxes: corporate tax, income tax, sales tax, excise duties, other levies imposed by the respective governments. So that should be paid on time as per the required amount that has to be done. The fourth one is rule of law. Good governance requires fair legal framework that has to be enforced impartially. It also requires full protection of rights, particularly with regard to the minority shareholders. Impartial enforcement of laws require an independent judiciary and regulatory authority. Adding to this, honest and ethical conduct is expected. Every officer of the company, that includes directors, executives, non-executive directors, managing director, CEO, CFO, all who are dealing on behalf of the company, they should deal with professionalism, honesty, commitment, and sincerity. So they should have the high moral and ethical standards that should conduct in a very fair and transparent way. The officers are all expected to act in accordance with the highest standard of personal and professional integrity. And if you take more of on-site and off-site locations where the people will work, so the company's business may be located at different places, even they have some social events. Wherever they are, what kind of scenario or what kind of work nature they belong to, the honest and ethical conduct should not go down. This is something which is very important. Honest conduct is a conduct which is free from fraud or any deception. Ethical handling of any conflict between personal and professional relationship. If you ask me about an ideal corporation has certain obligations to society, corporate citizenship, ethical behavior, environmental friendliness, observing the rule of law, and being politically non-aligned. And again repeating these points, the ideal corporation has to possess all these things when you talk about obligations to the society. First is corporate citizenship, second is ethical behavior, third is environmental friendliness, fourth is observing correctly the rule of law, and finally it's about being politically non-aligned. What is corporate citizenship? A company is committed to be a good corporate citizen, not only in compliance with relevant laws and regulations, but also actively assisting in the improvement of the quality of life of the people in the community in which they operate, with the objective of making them self-reliant and enjoy a better quality of life. Such social commitment consists of initiating and supporting community initiatives. So the corporations can be part of public health and family welfare activities, water management, vocational training and education and literacy. They can encourage the application of modern scientific and managerial techniques, and they can be part of that expertised one. And they have to revise their policy. See, periodically it has to go with the nation as well as the regional priority. So they have to strive very hard to incorporate the integral part of business plan, not just to treat them as optional. No more optional things here. When it comes about social obligation, it is not optional. It has to be mandatory. Something you are dispensing with which you are affiliated to, and you are not having it as an option which can be dispensed as per your convenience. It should encourage volunteering mechanism amongst the employees. Help them to work in communities. The company should develop social accounting systems and carry out social audit of its operations towards the community, employees and shareholders. Then ethical behavior. See, corporations, they have a responsibility to set an exemplary standard of ethical behavior, both internally within the organization as well as the relationship they have externally. When I talk about this unethical behavior, as you all know, it corrupts the organization culture. We are going to discuss more scams and scandals in this course. I have given you case studies pertaining to that. All because of what? Unethical behavior. The board of directors, they have a great moral responsibility to ensure that organizations does not derive from the upright path to make the short-term gains. So it is a very, very important prerequisite fact is that ethical standards should always be maintained. So, social obligations come from any form. Even the smallest company can impact a social change by making a small donation to any social welfare organization. So, let me give you some examples of firms who have done social obligations at large. What are the different aspects they have taken? One is reducing carbon footprints. That's one social obligation. Second, improving labor policies. Then participating in the fair trade, diversity, equity, inclusion. Then community and volunteering, in-person or virtual volunteering, which is common right now during this pandemic situation. And corporate policies that benefit the environment. And socially and environmentally conscious investments. As you see right now, the millennials and the Gen Z people, more of workforce belong to this particular community. So socially responsible companies are even more important. They believe companies should invest in improving society. That's what the millennials wish for. And look for solutions that assist in those improvements. So companies should share how they are trying to make a positive impact on the world, so that the public can see the pro-social initiatives. So you showcase your effort. That is the key to learn how to market to the millennials. So millennials always want to be part of such social initiatives. They volunteer. They make donations. More companies begin to see the impact socially and environmentally. So here I am just going to talk about some few firms who are doing it in a very big way. Let's start with one of the CSR activities of Johnson & Johnson, the big pharma pioneer. They have focused on reducing their impact on the planet for 3 decades. So they have taken more initiatives ranging from leveraging power of the wind to provide safe water to communities across the world. So what they have done, they purchase of a privately owned energy supplier in Texas, and they allowed the company to reduce pollution while providing a renewable one. So company continues to seek out renewable energy options with the goal of having 100% of its energy needs are from the renewable sources. So this is one innovative practice which is completely contributing at a large scale to the society. As you all know, the second firm, Google, is very trusted not only for its environmental friendly initiatives but also due to its outspoken CEO, Mr. Sundar. He stands up against more of social issues. Google also earned the Reputation Institute's highest CSR in 2018 score. They have got the highest. And they have committed over $1 billion to renewable energy projects and enable other businesses to reduce their environmental impact through services like their Google products like Gmail. Then Coca-Cola as a brand, it's like putting a high huge focus on sustainability. So in terms of climate or when it comes to agriculture, along with stewardship and product quality. So they have a message to convey to the world is that they want to create a world without waste. So with the aim of again recycling every bottle they are producing, so making their packaging 100% recyclable and replacing all water used in creating their drinks back to the environment to ensure water scarcity, or to ensure there is no water scarcity. Of course, they are securing the environmental resource. Ford Motors, they have a huge role to play in the area of social responsibility. Their mission is to build a better world where everyone is free to move and pursue their dreams. So they have increased their investment in electrification, so aiming for their vehicles to be carbon neutral. They are committed to carbon neutrality. So it's the right thing for customers, the planet, and four, that 95% of our carbon emissions today come from our vehicles. So we have to tackle this with urgency and optimism. The company has focused on that and they are conducting diversity, equity and inclusion audit while introducing even a global salary pay ratio to their employees. So in such a way, social responsibility activities are doing well and good in such areas. So they can attract the strong candidates and increase retention by involving in such societal activities. And there are successful as well. Business today is about more than just making a profit. Can it be climate change or economic inequality? Companies are expected or to be purpose driven and to contribute for the greater good. If I put CSR as a business model in which for profit companies, they seek some ways to create social and environmental benefits while pursuing organization goals. Today's organizations are implementing extensive CSR programs. Companies dedicating the C-level executive roles and the entire department to the social and environmental initiatives. So the C-suite executives, who are commonly referred as chief officers, now they are part of the corporate social responsibility officers. They are part of the sustainability. So it's no coincidence that some of today's most profitable organizations are also socially responsible. Let me come out with some big organizations of successful corporate social responsibility activities who have driven social change. So the first is Lego. Lego is a most reputable company, as you all know. So their aim is to not only help children develop through creative playing, but to foster a healthy planet. So as you know, this is a toy company. They were the first toy company to be named as World's Wildlife Fund Climate Savers Partner. They have made a pledge that to reduce the carbon impact. And they have a vision of this one by 2030. The toy maker plans to use environmental friendly materials to produce all its core products and packaging. And it's already been taken key steps to achieve that. So through all its initiatives, if you see, Lego is well on its way to tackle the environmental challenges and fostering its mission to help build a sustainable future. So that's Lego's successful corporate social responsibility model. And Ben & Jerry's social mission. Ben & Jerry has positively impacted the society, not just producing premium ice creams. This company has become a certified B Corporation, a business that balances purpose and profit by meeting the highest standards of social and environmental performance. So each year, their foundation awards approximately near to $3 million in grants to organizations across years. So they are completely going with sponsorships, grants. An organization has been dedicated to support the grassroots level for any social change. That well known, the next company which I have taken as an example is Starbucks. Starbucks launched its first CSR in the year 2002 with a goal of becoming a well-known firm in terms of CSR activities. So one of the ways the brand has fulfilled its goal is to ethical sourcing. So what ethical sourcing is that 99% of its coffee supply chain is ethically sourced. It seeks to boost that figure to 100% through continued effort and partnership through the local coffee farmers and organization. So they have this cafe practice. One of this one stands collaboration with some conservation international firms. So Starbucks has created a positive social impact. So as these firms demonstrate a deep and abiding commitment to CSR, we can pay dividends by learning from these initiatives and taking a value-driven approach to business. You can help your organization thrive and grow even as it confronts global challenges. That's the value of being socially responsible.